How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the RW Chronicles. This is Chronicle number 4. I don't have a title for this one yet, so we're gonna kind of just go with the flow of the video, see what I talk about and what I come up with as the title later on. But essentially, we're gonna go into what to do to change your identity, which is something that I alluded to in my last video. So credit to Eric from the Power of I Am for the idea of this, because I basically just did what he taught me, and now I'm gonna teach it to you guys. So all credit to him for the idea. But anyway, let's get into this. So real quick, you really have to understand something, okay? Before I get into this, you guys have to understand, you can't shift realities without changing your identity first, okay? Because reality is always materializing identity, not what you want, right? You can think about what you want over and over and over and over and over again, and it will come in, right? Otherwise known as affirming, okay? It's literally just thinking thoughts. So you can think those thoughts, it'll come in, right? The thing that you want, that person you want, the money you want, whatever. But if you haven't changed your identity, right? So let's say for money, you know, you get that $1,000 a day, but you still identify as somebody who's broke as hell and is poor, right? You're never going to be able to keep that $1,000 a day. It's just going to go away right as you get it. You're going to have to spend it on something, spend it on something, spend it on something. You're never going to have enough, right? Whereas if you changed your mindset, you changed your identity around money, right? You know, instead of I'm always broke, oh, I always have more than enough, I'm always making, you know, whatever, right? Then you would be able to keep a constant flow of that money, and it would stay, and you'd be able to make smarter decisions with it, right? So same thing for people, right? If you know, get that person back, but you didn't change how you saw them or how you see relationships, right? You still think that you always get left, or you always get broken up with, you always get cheated on, or, you know, relationships don't last. There's a honeymoon phase you go through, and then you know, after like 3 months, it falls apart. Like, if you still have those beliefs, that's what's going to get reflected back to you. So you have to make sure you're changing your self-concept, concept of self, and manifestation self-concept, so that you don't fall into the old patterns, okay? So that's why it's imperative that you know that those 3 things are crucial, okay? So don't listen to those people that just say you got to repeat something a million times. Yes, that works, that helps, but if you don't change who you are, you're going to do all that for no reason, right? So I tell you to focus on those 3 things. And then after that, after you get those 3 things down and you know that you've shifted and you're that new identity, then you can do your whatever for whatever area of life, right? So anyway, let's get into this. When I got coaching with Eric, one of the first things that I was told to do was get a piece of paper and shadow myself for a day. Just get out a piece of paper, write down everything that I thought of in certain areas of my life. So what my immediate go-to thought was for certain areas of my life, whether it have been, you know, about money, about people, about certain experiences, literally everything, anything I could think of, right? Even if it was broad, just about like life in general, what my outlook on life is, right? So back before I knew who the hell I was, I wrote all these things down, and all you're gonna do, right? All you're gonna do for this is you're gonna grab a piece of paper. Don't do it in your notes app, because we all know you're gonna be on your notes app for like 5 minutes, and then you're gonna get a TikTok notification or a fucking Instagram or a message notification. You're gonna be distracted. So don't do that, okay? Silence your phone, put it to the side, and get out a piece of paper, get a pencil, get a pen, whatever, and really think about every area of your life right now and what your immediate go-to thought is, right? So for money, what's your immediate go-to thought for money before you have to correct it, right? Where do you immediately go? Do you immediately go to money is scarce, it's hard to come by, right? Write that down. For relationships, do you think that relationships are hard? Do you think the dating scene is awful, right? Do you think that, you know, all women are a certain way? Do you think that all men are a certain way, right? How do you think about those specific areas, right? Write that down. For jobs, do you think the job market's shit? Write that down. I know everybody's probably like, oh, I agree with that. Okay, write that down. Literally everybody, I think everybody in my life like that I know who's trying to get a job right now could say that. So put that on this piece of paper, okay? So it's just little things like that, or not little things, but you know what I'm saying. It's just every area of your life that you want to change and select differently for. You write down your initial go-to. And what I did as well is I try to get more broad too, because like an overarching areas of my life. So just my life outlook, like how do I view my future? Like what do I think my future is going to look like? And I did that. I wrote down other areas that I didn't mention, like family, school was another one because I'm in college currently, and I'm trying to think of if I can see anything else that I'm comfortable with sharing too, because again, I'm not going to be sharing every single thing I wrote down, but I'm going to be sharing, the areas that I think could help you guys out the most. So, all right, I'm going to go through a little bit of my old self real quick, and then just to give you an example. So, one of the first things I noticed, this is literally the first thing I wrote down about myself, was I was very lazy. So that's the first thing I put on here in my old self scouting report, which is what you can call it as well, is laziness. I was a very lazy person. I would tell myself I was going to do something. This channel was a great example of that. I was supposed to actually start this channel way back in like March or some shit. Like I really was not understanding the identity part of this stuff for the longest time. Like I didn't understand that. And I was doing and not understanding why things would either not come in at all or come in for a little bit and then leave just as quickly, because I didn't get the identity part of this stuff. I just thought like I would just repeat, and then get something, and then that'd be it. When you can do that, but if you don't change your identity, So I didn't realize that that was my old self, the laziness, because your old self is going to come in, like I said in the ego video, in many different ways, through thoughts, through feelings, through circumstances, certain actions maybe. Like you got to be prepared, right? So laziness was something that I needed to overcome, and working out was another thing. I would not work out for the life of me. Like I knew I needed to do that because I love working out and I felt great back in the day when I did it, but I just wouldn't do it for the longest time. And I didn't understand this because I was letting my old self get in the way, because I was identifying with my feelings. I didn't feel like doing it, so I wouldn't do it. And you can't do that. If you want to grow, you got to do things that you don't want to do to, get to the, I'm trying to not say like cringe words, like, evolve or like ascend or something. Like I don't want to say things like upgrade. Like I don't want to say those kind of things, but that's, technically what you're doing. So, anyway, another area of life that I really was struggling with, that I found out through this report, was my old life motto, which basically ruined my life. So if you live by this motto, you got to change it. Okay. So it's expect the worst, hope for the best. That was my life motto for fucking everything. And it was bad. It really got me to a really bad place mentally, because think about that. Okay. Think about that. Really think about that. You're going about your life and you're expecting the worst case scenario to happen, but hey, sometimes you're kind of hoping that doesn't happen, Hey, maybe the best case scenario might happen today. I'm kind of hoping for that, but I'm expecting the worst. What do you think you're going to get 9 times out of 10? Probably the worst fucking outcome you could ever imagine, right? That your fucked up mind could come up with. So you don't want to live by that. You don't want to do that. So please don't do that, okay? Don't do that. Don't live by that phrase anymore, okay? Because I think now more than ever in the world that we live in today, I think a lot of people do that because they're so in tune with the news, and they're in tune with, the political landscape and, what's going on around everywhere. Like, just don't be that way, okay? Because you got no idea, right? You got no idea. The greatest thing could be right in front of you, for all you know, right? But because of who you are, like, let's say, you get invited out somewhere. Like, I see these stupid memes all the time where it's like, oh, me when I get invited out, but I don't want to go out, or like me when, the plans that I didn't want to go to get canceled, and it's like, oh yeah, it's like, that's a good thing. Like, you getting invited out is a good thing. Like, maybe, okay, if you don't want to go out with those people, just say you don't want to fucking go out with those people and don't be friends with them anymore. But it's like, that's a good thing, But your old self's coming in and being like, oh, I don't want to go, or, oh, I hope this gets canceled, and then when it gets canceled, it's like, oh, yes, it gets canceled. But it's like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm a, homebody myself, but like, when people invite me out, I want to go, like, because they're my friends, I don't get those type of things. But anyway, stop expecting the worst and hoping for the best, because that is a shitty life motto that's going to ruin your life. From experience, trust me, I know. All right, and then another thing that I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to is overthinking. That was a big issue for me, was overthinking. So it's just like, overthinking will make you think, no pun intended for the, overusage of thinking, but overthinking will make you believe that you are like, analyzing everything and, making sure that everything's, perfect, like perfectly aligned just the way that you wanted it to be. Like, okay, yeah, I'm making sure I got every outcome and prepared for everything. It's like, no, you're fucking your mind up by doing that. Like, you thinking of all these different outcomes of how this could go, how that could go, or how this person's behaving, or what that could mean. You're literally just, one, confusing yourself, but number two, you're basically telling reality, hey, fucking give me whatever. Like, brew me up the fucking devil's cocktail, like Eric would say, the devil's cocktail of fucking awareness, where it's like, hey, give me all this bullshit that I for no fucking reason other than the fact that I think that I'm right, and my ego mind's telling me all these things, and I got to analyze all this stuff and make sure I know every single little outcome so that I'm prepared for everything. It's like, no, just decide what it's going to be. Just decide it's going to be the most positive outcome, and that's it. That's all you got to do. Stop overthinking everything. All right. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I can tell you guys. So you guys know how I was talking about, I don't know if I mentioned this in the first video, but like before, and this will be more talked about in detail in my my personal like journey story that I'm going to tell you guys pretty soon. But I think I mentioned that I lived in my head a lot beforehand, and that's true, I did. And I literally just thought that my reality sucked when, like, in front of me, to any normal person, it'd probably be like, this is a pretty great life I'm living. But to my fucked up mind, I was like, yeah, this reality fucking sucks. And that's why I fell into depression a fuck ton, like in and out of depression for like 5 to 7 years, somewhere in that range, maybe even 8 years. I'm trying to think. It was all high school, most of middle school, like in past 2 years, like literally last year, like tail end of last year, like literally tail end of last year is when I finally got out of it. But anyway, I was depressed. I overthought everything. Like, I was trying to be the smart guy in my reality. And like, I thought that my life sucked because of who I was being. I was being the guy that my life sucked. And when good things would show up, I would find the absolute worst thing, expecting the worst because I expected the worst. So I would find the absolute worst thing in everything that came in, whether it was good, whether it was bad, like actually a bad thing, or whether it was nothing, like indifference. I always found the worst case scenario or the worst outcome in things. Like, I always could find the negative in everything. And I was very sarcastic and cynical, and it just, I felt awful. Like, I was not being my authentic self for a very long time. And I implore you guys to do this self-scouting report, because it really made me realize, like, holy shit, this is how I ruined my life. And I can, take the accountability, sit here and say, okay, this is how I ruined my life. And now I'm going to take this and I'm going to reverse it in my favor. So now we're going to talk about that, how to reverse it in your favor. So you're going to write all this stuff down, every area of your life that you want to change, right? And even honestly, like I would go as far as go to the areas of your life that you don't even want to change, and give yourself like grace, kind of like go through every area of your life, whether you want to change or not, and see like where you go positively for areas of your life, just every area of your life. Why not, right? Because it could always be better. It could always be perfect, right? So anyway, now you're going to shift this in your favor. So all you're going to do is, for example, for relationships, let's say currently your go-to thought for relationships is men ain't shit or woman cheat, whatever it is, right? All you're going to do is reverse that shit. All women are, all women desire me, whatever the fuck. I don't know. Like, I don't know. You come up with your own fucking affirmations. I'm not here to do that for you. But basically, like, what you're gonna do is, you're gonna shift this in your favor, and your new thoughts are the opposite of what you used to think, right? So, for example, it's like, if you think relationships suck, it's like, or the dating scene says like, oh no, the dating scene's great. There's a bunch of great people out there for me to meet, a bunch of great people out there that want me, whatever, right? Sorry for the 13-year-old voice crack, but you get what I'm saying, right? For money, it's like, money's hard to come by. No, money is actually really easy to get. Money's, there's abundance of money out there. Like, there's so much money to get, so much, that I can attain, whatever. For the job market, the job market's shit. No, the job market's actually pretty great. There's a bunch of jobs out there that I can apply for. There's a plethora of jobs for me, right? So you want to shift it in a positive light in your favor. You don't want to be, sitting there and be like, okay, I did this scouting report. And then you just don't fucking like change. Like, you don't want to do that. You want to shift it. And so what I did is, on one side, you can see there's a date on here. It's 3/6/26. You're going to put old self-scouting report at the top, and you're going to write out, where you go immediately. And then on the other side, I actually have two pieces of paper, but I don't think I wrote anything on the other side of the old self-scouting report. But on another piece of paper, I did daily reminders. So those were my affirmations that I said to myself every day when I wake up and when I go to bed, because the two times when I'm not trying to say this, 2 periods in the day where your mind is idle is the first 20 minutes when you wake up and as you're going to sleep. That's when your left side of your brain isn't as active. So you, preferably, what I would do is I would say these in the morning and I would say these at night, okay? I also do more throughout the day because I have the time. If you don't have the time, that's totally cool. Just remind yourself throughout the day. If you're, if you're working or you're doing the dishes or you're walking, then you can, if you're doing the task that doesn't require a lot of brain power, you can say these affirmations to yourself, right? The new thoughts after you do the self-scouting report, change it to positive things, and then those are your new areas of life that you got to be aware of, right? So you just remind yourself, oh, yeah, it's like this now, it's like this now. But definitely do it in the morning and before you go to bed. Those are the two best times to do it. And then a third thing I did for myself, because I was very forgetful of a lot of things, like in terms of how reality works. So what I did on the back of my daily affirmations that I wrote down reminders. So I wrote down reminders on here for how reality works. So basically everything I've talked about so far, how the ego mind works, how reality in general works, the cause and effect, all that stuff. Like I wrote everything down to remind myself that everything is, controllable. Like I control how I respond to things, right? So for example, one thing that can help everybody for sure is, if I can find it, whether you see something in your reality or not, let's say you're manifesting that fucking text message, right? I need that text message from that person, right? From that ex from fucking 5 years ago. Okay, cool. You want that text message. Just because you see no text out there, that doesn't mean it's fucking true. because we've set the foundation, okay? We've set the foundation in this channel. The whole physical world is the effect of you, okay? Everything you see outside of you is the effect. It can't validate you. It can't confirm anything, right? As long as you need it to. So the best way to detach is to understand it's the effect. It's, as everybody says in the community, it's yesterday's news. It's, the old weather report, whatever, like however you want to think about it, okay? But everything you see in your physical reality is an old manifestation. So just because there ain't no text there physically does not mean that it's true. That doesn't, like, just because you see it doesn't mean you register it as true, right? What I like to do, I fucking love doing this, is back in the day, is when I was going all in on myself and I would see something that I didn't like in my reality, I'd just be like, nope, it's actually this way. It's actually this way. And I would feel like shit. Like, I would feel like my body would feel like shit. Like, I'd be like, oh, like, I would feel, as everybody fucking, says in the community, I feel like I'm lying. I feel like I'm lying to myself. I feel like I'm being delusional. Yeah, you kind of are. Like, if you want to think about it that way, sure. But, like, I said it anyway, because there's power in your word. You say it anyway. You talk over the feelings, you talk over the thoughts, you speak over it, right? Because you know the truth. That's the only validation you need is yourself. You're the truth, right? Not the fucking outside. If you know how this stuff works, why are we getting upset at the outside? Why are we doing that? It makes no sense. If you know how this works, if you know it's the effect, as the cause, are you getting upset at the effect, right? Very logical way to look at it. So everybody who's logical, I used to be very logical, so that helped me a lot. The cause and effect way of teaching it. And again, who taught me? Everybody could probably, I know. Eric from the Power of I Am taught you. Yeah, I got to give credit where credit's due, because I'm not a ninja. I'm not going to take his stuff and not give him credit for it. So anyway, I think that's basically it. That's all I want to touch on. So just do the old self-scouting report seriously, because that is what's holding you back. I'm going to be real with you guys. Like, you can't shift to your desired reality without first changing self. You have to change yourself. And it's not a process. Like, it's not, I'm going to go on my journey. No, like, you are in that reality the second you say so. Okay? The second you say that I'm in this reality now, you're in it. And my next video, or the video after, is going to be about the present moment and really anchoring yourself down in them, because 9 times out of 10, we're living in our head and we're giving ourselves bullshit when we're doing something else. Like, I'm watching TV, but I'm thinking about how shitty my work, like my day at work's gonna be tomorrow, right? It's things like that. So I don't do that anymore. I'm just saying that as an example. Like, don't think of that stuff. Like, don't do that. Try your best to stay in the present moment. But yeah, I'm talking in circles at this point. So I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. Thank you guys for watching. Do the self-scouting report. Make sure you cover every area that you want to change, even though you're shifting in consciousness. The moment you write the stuff down, the moment you write the new stuff down, that's your buddy. That's your fucking friend, okay? That's your best fucking friend. You keep that piece of paper with you, okay? And here's a cool thing, real quick. I know I said I was gonna go, but real quick. As old things come up, this is kind of a funny thing. This made me laugh, actually, was as the old things come up, like in your reality, you can just look at this piece of paper and immediately see, wow, there it is right there. There it is. I can trace it all back to this piece of paper because I did the homework. I did the homework on myself, and I'm not going to react anymore because I know it's all old bullshit. So why would I react to it, right? It's kind of funny. Like, I started laughing. I was like, holy shit. Like, I was reacting to this the whole time. Like, really? I was reacting to the same version of this person, or the same, patterns and relationships, the same patterns and, money, the same patterns and, whatever. And, me not wanting to start this channel and being scared to do so, or, being lazy, right? So anyway, you just got to deny your old self, choose again, and be that new version. All right, guys, that's basically it. So this is a long ass fucking video, so I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.